नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले स्वामिनिति नामिनि। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत सादर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे। Bhagavatam Canto 7 Chapter 8 Verse 18 Satvam menam parito vipashyan stambhasya madhyadanu अनुनिर्जिहानां हानं नायं मृगोनापि नरो विचित्रम् अहो किं मे तन्मृगेन्द्ररूपम्. Hiranyakashipu looked all around to find the source of the sound, that wonderful form of the Lord which could not be ascertained to be either a man or a lion, emerged from the pillar. In amazement, Hiranyakashipu wondered, what is this creature that is half man and half lion? A demon cannot calculate the unlimited potential of the Supreme Lord. Read in the Vedas, Parasya Shakti Vividai Swabhaviki Gnana Balakriya. The different potencies of the Lord are always working as an automatic exhibition of His knowledge. So different potencies of the Lord are always working as an automatic exhibition of His knowledge. For a demon, it is certainly wonderful that the form of a lion and the form of a man can be united, since a demon has no experience of the inconceivable power for which the Supreme Lord is called all-powerful. Demons cannot understand the omnipotence of the Lord. They simply compare the Lord to one of them. So we should not doubt the Lord. So we should have full faith in the omnipotence of the Lord. Mudas, rascals, think that Krishna is an ordinary human being who appears for the benefit of other human beings. Parambhavam majanantaha, fools, rascals, and demons cannot realize the supreme potency of the Lord. But He can do anything and everything. Indeed, He can do whatever He likes. When Hiranyakashipu received benedictions from Lord Brahma, he thought that he was safe, since he received the benediction that he would not be killed either by an animal or by a human being. He never thought an animal and human being could be combined, so that demons like him would be puzzled by such a form. This is the meaning of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the omnipotence. So Krishna can do whatever he likes. He can do anything and everything. So we have to have faith in this. And the demons, they don't have faith. They don't understand the omnipotence. Devotees have faith. And in all situations, we should have faith that Krishna can do anything and everything. मीमां समानस्य समुत्थितो ग्रतो नृसिंहरूपस्तदलम्बयः भयानकं प्रतप्तचामीकर चण्डलोचनं स्फुरत्सटा केशरजृम्भिताननं करालदंष्ट्रं करवालचञ्चल क्षुरान्तजिह्वं भ्रुकूटी मुकोल्बणम् स्तब्धोर्ध्वकर्णं गिरिकन्दराद्भुत यातास्य नासं हनुभेदभीषणं दिवि स्पृशत्कायमधीर्घपीवर ग्रीवोर्वक्षस्थलमल्पमध्यमं चन्द्रांशुगौरैश्चुरितं तनूरुहैर्विश्वभुजानीकशतं नखायुधं दुरासदं सर्वनिजितेत् आयुध वेकविद्रावितदैत्यदानवम्. Hiranyakashipu studied the form of the Lord, trying to decide who the form of Nrsimhadev standing before him was. The Lord's form was extremely fearsome because of his angry eyes, which resembled molten gold, his shining mane, which expanded the dimensions of his fearful face. That is the hair on his face, his deadly teeth, and his razor sharp tongue, which moved about like a dueling sword. His ears were erect and motionless, and his nostrils and gaping mouth appeared like caves of a mountain. His jaws parted fearfully, and his entire body touched the sky. His neck was very short and thick, his chest broad, his waist thin, and the hairs on his body as white as the rays of the moon. His arms, which resembled flanks of soldiers, spread in all directions as he killed the demons, rogues, and atheists with his conch shell, disc, club, lotus, and other natural weapons. Ferocious, fearsome form. Because the demons will fearsome for the demons, not for the devotees. प्रायेणमेयं हरिणोरुमायिना वदः स्मृतोनेन समुद्यतेन किम् एवं ब्रुवं स्वभ्यपतद् कदायुधो नदन्द्रसिंहं प्रतिदैत्यकुञ्जरः. Hiranyakashipu murmured to himself, Lord Vishnu, who possesses great mystic power, has made this plan to kill me. But what is the use of such an attempt? Who can fight with me? Thinking like this and taking up his club, what? How much ignorance, how much arrogance. And he's seeing such a scary form in front of him. Still, he's thinking, he's Lord Vishnu. Now he's thinking that Lord Vishnu just has some mystic power. That's all. Great mystic power. He's trying to kill me, but mystic power can't do anything to me because I've got this boon. So he just taking up his club while the Lord had so many weapons in his hand. He attacked the Lord like an elephant. And the Lord appeared like a lion, and Hiranyakashipu, unafraid of the Lord, attacked him like an elephant. Really, the elephant is defeated by the lion, and therefore the comparison is appropriate. Alakshitogno patitah patangamo yathandasimhau jasisosurasstada na tadvichitram khalu sattvadhamani swatejasa yonu purapipattamaha. Just as a small insect falls forcefully into a fire and the insignificant creature becomes invisible, when Hiranyakashipu attacked, the Lord was full of effulgence. Hiranyakashipu became invisible. Because of this effulgence, he could not be seen. It is not at all astonishing, for the Lord is always situated in pure goodness. Formerly, during creation, he entered the dark universe and illuminated it by his spiritual effulgence. The Lord is situated transcendently in pure goodness. The material world is generally controlled by tamoguna. The spiritual world, because of the presence of the Lord and his effulgence, is free from all contamination by darkness, passion, or contaminated goodness. Although there is a tinge of goodness in this material world in terms of the Brahminical qualifications, such qualifications become invisible because of the strong prevalence of passion and ignorance. But because the Lord is always transcendently situated, the material modes of passion and ignorance cannot touch him. Whenever the Lord is present, there cannot be any darkness from the mode of ignorance. Krishna Surya Samaha Maya Hai Andakar. Yaha Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Radhikar. So wherever Krishna is there, Krishna is Surya Sama. So wherever Krishna is there, there's no darkness. There is no Maya or Adhikar. There's no uh, place for Maya. This material world is full of darkness and ignorance of spiritual life. By Bhakti Yoga, this ignorance is dissipated. The Lord appeared because of the Bhakti Yoga exhibited by Prahlad, and as soon as the Lord appeared, the influence of Hiranyakashipu's passion and ignorance was vanquished. The Lord's quality of pure goodness, or the Brahman effulgence, became prominent. So similarly, when the Lord manifests in our heart, then our modes of passion and ignorance will be vanquished. In that prominent effulgence, Hiranyakashipu became invisible, or his influence became insignificant. An example illustrating how the darkness of the material world is vanquished is given in the Shastra. When Brahma was created from the lotus stem growing from the abdomen of Garbhodakashai Vishnu, Lord Brahma saw everything to be dark. But when he received knowledge from the Supreme Lord, everything became clear, as everything becomes clear when one comes from night to sunshine. The important point is that as long as we are in the material modes of nature, we are always in darkness. This darkness cannot be dissipated without the presence of the Supreme Lord, which is invoked by the practice of Bhakti Yoga. Yoga creates a transcendental situation with no tinges of material contamination. Mm, Initially, there will be, but then the contamination gets cleared gradually, which is the process of anartha nivritti. And then, yeah, the heart becomes pure, clean. Cheto darpana marjanam. ततो विपद्याभ्यहनं महासुरो रुषा नृसिंहं गदयो गदयो गदयोरुवेगया तं विक्रमन्तं सगदं गदाधरो महोरगं तार्क्ष्यसुतो यथा गृहीत. Thereafter, the great demon Hiranyakashipu was extremely angry, swiftly attacked Narasimhadev with his club and began to beat him. Narasimhadev, however, captured the great demon along with his club, just as Garuda might capture a great snake. तस्य हस्तोत्पलितस्तदासुरो विक्रीडतो यद्वदहिर्गरुत्मतः असाध्वमन्यन्तः हृतौ कसोमरा घनच्छदा भारत सर्वधिष्ण्यपाः. Yudhishthira, O great son of Bharata, when Lord Narasimhadev gave Hiranyakashipu a chance to slip from his hand, just as Garuda sometimes plays with a snake and lets it slip from his mouth, the demigods who had lost their abodes and who were hiding behind the clouds for fear of the demon did not consider that incident very good. Indeed, they were perturbed. Hmm. Because they were afraid of Hiranyakashipu. And they knew that if somehow or other he escaped, and he saw that the demigods were looking around to his death with great pleasure, he would take revenge upon them. Therefore, they were very much सम्मन्यमानो निजवीर्यशङ्कितं यद्धस्तमुक्तो नृहरिं महासुरः पुनस्तमासज्जत खड्गचर्मणि प्रगृह्य वेगेन गतः समोमृधे. When Hiranyakashipu was freed from the hands of Narasimhadev, he falsely thought that the Lord was afraid of his prowess. Therefore, after taking a little rest from the fight, he took up his sword and shield. So he gave up his club, now he took and shield, and again attacked the Lord with great force. When a sinful man enjoys material facilities, foolish people sometimes think, how is it that sinful man is enjoying whereas a pious man is suffering? By the will of the Supreme, a sinful man is sometimes given the chance to enjoy the material world as if he were not under the clutches of material nature, just so that he may be fooled. Sinful man who acts against the laws of nature must be punished. But sometimes he is given chance to play, exactly like Hiranyakashipu when he was released from the hands of Narasimhadev. Hiranyakashipu was destined to be ultimately killed by Narasimhadev, but just to see the fun, the Lord gave him a chance to slip from his hands. संशयेन वेगं शतचन्द्रवर्त्मभिश्चरन्तमच्छिद्रमुपर्यधो हरिः कृत्वाट्टहासं खरम् उत्स्वनोल्बणं निमीलिताक्षं जग्रे महाजवः. Making a loud, shrill sound of laughter, the Supreme Lord Narayana, who is extremely strong and powerful, Hiranyakashipu was protecting himself with his front shield, leaving no gaps open. So he was protecting himself, leaving no gaps open, but the Lord captured him. With the speed of a hawk, Hiranyakashipu moved sometimes in the sky and sometimes on the earth. His eyes closed because of fear of Narasimhadev's last laughter. As a snake captures a mouse or Garuda captures a very venomous snake, Lord Narasimhadev captured Hiranyakashipu, who could not be pierced even by the thunderbolt of King Indra. As Hiranyakashipu moved his limbs here, there, and all around, very much afflicted at being captured, Lord Narasimhadev placed the demon on his lap, supporting him with his thighs. And in the doorway of the assembly hall, the Lord very easily tore the demon to pieces with the nails of his hand. That's all. A little bit here and there, and then finish. So he just captured him, then put him on his lap, and then supporting him with his thighs, and in the doorway of the assembly hall, he tore the demon to pieces. Hiranyakashipu had received from Lord Brahma that a benediction that he would not die on the land or in sky. Therefore, to keep the promise of Lord Brahma intact, Nrsimhadev placed Hiranyakashipu's body on his lap, which was neither land nor sky. Hmm. And either day or night. So the Lord killed Hiranyakashipu in the evening, which is the end of the day and the beginning of night, but is neither day or night. He would not die from any weapon or killed by any person, dead or alive. Therefore, just to keep the word of Lord Brahma, Nrsimhadev pierced Hiranyakashipu's body with his nails, which were not weapons and were neither living nor dead. Mhm. And nails can be called dead, but at the same time, they can be said to be alive. To keep intact all of Lord Brahma's benedictions, Lord Nrsimhadev paradoxically but very easily killed the great demon Hiranyakashipu. It's so much of intelligence, so much of difficulty, such a complex boon, ultimately simply torn apart by Narasimhadev. That's all. The result of all that demoniac and nature. Mm, So easy for the Lord, right? It seems so difficult for us when we see all this. Oh, such a complex boon. How will we do? What will we do? For the Lord, it's nothing. Lord Narasimhadev's mouth and mane were sprinkled with drops of blood, and his fierce eyes, full of anger, were impossible to look at. Licking the edge of his mouth with his tongue, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narasimhadev, decorated with a garland of intestines taken from Hiranyakashipu's abdomen, resembled a lion that has just killed an elephant. The hair on Lord Narasimhadev's face, being sprinkled with drops of blood, was reddish and looked very beautiful. Lord Narasimhadev pierced Hiranyakashipu's abdomen with his nails, pulled out the demon's intestines, and wore them as a garland, which enhanced his beauty. Thus, the Lord became very fearsome, like a lion engaged in fighting an elephant. The Supreme Person of Godhead, who had many, many arms, first uprooted Hiranyakashipu's heart and then threw him aside and turned toward the demon soldiers. So first he took out his intestine, then he took out his heart, and threw the body of Hiranyakashipu aside, and then turned toward the demon soldiers. These soldiers had come in thousands to fight with him with raised weapons and were very faithful followers of Hiranyakashipu. But Lord Narasimhadev killed all of them merely with the end of his nails. And since the creation of the material world, there are devas and asuras. Devas are very faithful to Lord. Asuras are always atheists and defy the supremacy of the Lord. The present moment throughout the entire world, atheists are extremely numerous. And they're going to become predominant in few years. They're trying to prove that there's no God and that everything takes place due to combinations and permutations of material elements, so mainly the scientists. Thus, the material world is becoming more and more godless. And consequently, everything is in a disturbed condition because of this godless nature. If this continues, the Supreme Lord will certainly take action as it did in the case of Hiranyakashipu. Within a second, Hiranyakashipu and his followers were destroyed. And similarly, if the godless civilization continues, it will be destroyed in a second simply by the movement of one finger of the Supreme Lord. And we saw that with, Jalak, Rona, right? Everything can get destroyed. The demons should therefore be careful and curtail their godless civilization. They should take advantage of the Krishna consciousness movement and become faithful to the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, they're doomed. As Hiranyakashipu was killed in a second, the godless civilization can be destroyed any moment. The hair on Narasimhadev's head shook the clouds and scattered them here and there. Glaring eyes stole the effulgence of the luminaries in the sky, and his breathing agitated the seas and oceans. Because of his roaring, all the elephants in the world began to cry in fear. So Krishna says that all opulence is just a partial manifestation. Whatever great things we see, just a spark. And many wonderful qualities of different living entities, but whatever extraordinary things exist are but part of Lord's ages, his illumination or brilliance. The deep waves of the seas and oceans and the many other wonders within the creation of the Supreme Lord all become insignificant when the Lord In a special feature incarnates within this material world. Everything is insignificant in comparison to his personal, all-defeating transcendence. Everything is insignificant. Mm. Actually, this is should be one of the drivers to inspire us. Mhm. Go to the spiritual world because it's unimaginable. How much ever we can read and hear about the Supreme Lord, our limited intelligence cannot actually help us understand. First of all, words are inadequate. Like it says, lotus feet. How can we understand lotus feet? How can a feet be like lotus? But and the lotus is also not sufficient enough to describe the beauty of the Lord's feet. So it's just a nearest comparison in the material world, like moon-like face. Uh, but moon has so many deficiencies, so many not so good qualities. So, but the closest we can compare the Lord's face is the moon in this material world. So, like this, most of the comparisons and subsequently our own imagery of the Lord or what form we can imagine from these descriptions are not sufficient at all. They are not complete. Of course, when we see the deity form of the Lord, then we can understand, but still the everything the with our blunt senses, there is a limited experience of the Lord we can have. Mm. Only when the senses become completely transcendental can we experience the Lord, but that is as He is, not represented by material elements. Right now, what we are able to see is the Lord represented in material elements. But when the senses become completely spiritualized, we can actually see the Lord as He is, not in a representation, not in material element, but in His spiritual original nature. And that original nature is incomparable with what we can see here in this material world with our blunt eyes. So when He appears, everything becomes insignificant. Everything is insignificant in comparison to His personal transcendent. Mm. In fact, I was reading somewhere yesterday that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there manifest in this world. Atheists were defeated by just his beauty. That the Mayavadis, we know that, right, in Varanasi. That Prakashananda Saraswati group, they were just defeated by his beauty. Just by seeing his beauty and effulgence, they said, gee, this must be Narayana. As in, not that he's a sannyasi who's achieved perfection. So the Lord's beauty is incomparable. And it's just by his beauty that so many people are attracted to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Actually, there's description which says that, because he's, what is that, 8 cubits tall and 8 cubits wide. It's like huge body compared to people in Kali Yuga. It's like imposing features. So as soon as somebody just sees the Lord, I mean, he stands out, in any crowd, in any gathering. Mm. So it's just one aspect of Krishna, which is his beauty, is unimaginable. So like this, the Lord's personal qualities, and then of course, then is beauty, then is transcendental qualities. It's just beyond our imagination. Which is why we have to read these descriptions of the Lord's form, qualities, pastimes, etc., and that should kind of trigger that desire to see Him. to directly associate with him. Anyway, because this I saw this, everything is insignificant. Seriously, everything is insignificant. And also, Shastra says that the form of Krishna even agitates or attracts even Lord Vishnu. Now we say okay, Lord Vishnu and Lord Krishna are different, but Shastra says that there is still that sweetness in Krishna's form is not seen anywhere else. So it's not even, I mean, even Lord Vishnu is attracted by Krishna's form. Which is why Mahavishnu does some Leela so that both Arjuna and Krishna can come to him so that he can get their darshan, get Krishna's darshan. Like this. Yeah, Koini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. And is there any description about the height of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Like
Yeah. 8 cubits, 8 cubits in height and 8 cubits width. It's there. Chaitanya Charitamrita.
So what it means in our language, Prabhu?
8 cubits means 1 cubit is some many feet. I don't know what. I don't remember. 1.5 foot. So 8 into 1.5
Okay.
was
12,
his height. Yeah.
12 feet. Wow.
And 12 feet wide, which we cannot imagine. How can one be 12 feet wide?
Wow.
But that's what the Shastra says. Right? So, eh, yeah, I mean, in one sense, it's inconceivable. I mean, by our limited intelligence, we cannot understand. And his arms, till the knee. So it's just not. I mean, we cannot imagine that it might seem oversized or, like unusual, and we can't really appreciate it. Right.
Maybe when he stretches his hand, so including that.
No, don't visualize. Don't speculate at all. Don't
It's
speculate.
not described,
The
Prabhu.
Lord's form is like that. It's just that his arms are as long as they come till the knees.
Yes.
Now, how we can understand what this means in conditioned state, we cannot understand. Which is why whenever we experience, when we come across things we can't understand, we should not speculate. We should just say, okay, that's what it is. Right? Now, how can we understand 8 cubits width and 8 cubits height? 12 by 12 block. Hands like so long. Right? I mean, it just seems like some cartoon character or some, it's just like, or some, yeah, we can't imagine. And he was so beautiful in with all this, and that he had Radharani's emotions and color, right? So it was just yeah, it was a combination which is unexplainable, right? How can Radharani, you would imagine, is like you know soft and thin and beautiful and feminine features, and it was the same thing with just such gigantic form of the Lord, still the same beauty. Actually, once my spiritual master is on his bhakti that said that in some context he was saying that when will I see this beautiful form of the Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So it's like that actually. Uh, it's unimaginable. And of course, Krishna's features are a little bit more um, consumable for us in that sense. But still, like some very dark blue complexion, blue boy. How can a blue boy be beautiful? It's just, yeah, we can imagine to some extent. I'm not even getting words to. It's just it's not something that we can imagine, or even if we see with our whatever we can see with our blunt eyes cannot compare to the real beauty of the Lord. Mm. What is the option? Is to actually see Him with transcendental eyes, and that should drive us. to do intense devotion. Everything is insignificant. So, and just imagine, both Radha and Krishna together. I mean, what a festival it should be. Just their presence. What can it, how can we describe it? It's just, right. So, then one can feel, one can have this, develop this desire saying that, wow, can I see them? Which is what we are praying for in Tulsi Aarti, right? We want to see both of them. Mm. But yeah, we can develop the desire. Airplanes were thrown into outer space and the upper planetary system by the hair on Narasimha said, because of the pressure of the Lord's lotus feet, the earth appeared to slip from its position. And all the hills and mountains sprang up due to his intolerable force. Because of the Lord's bodily effulgence, both the sky and all directions diminished in their natural illumination. And just imagine this whole, like, power is in Krishna also. Mm. Mm. But he has his own way of displaying his power. That there were airplanes flying in the sky long, long ago can be understood from this verse. Bhagavatam was spoken 5,000 years ago, and the statements of this verse prove that the symptoms of very advanced civilization then existed, even in the upper planetary systems as well as in the lower planetary systems. Modern scientists and philosophers foolishly explain that there's no civilization prior to 3,000 years ago, but the statement of this verse nullifies such whimsical judgments. The Vedic civilization existed millions and millions of years ago. It existed since the creation of this universe, and it included arrangements all over the universe with all modern amenities and even more. And in fact, what the so-called discoveries, etc., that are happening are just still nothing compared to the actual facilities available, right, in lower planetary systems, upper planetary systems, etc. Right. So what we are seeing on Earth is nothing. Whatever modern amenities we are seeing is nothing, right? Like, for example, one thing that is now that we are starting to see is self-driven cars, meaning auto cars, right? Now, yeah, you might have seen so many movies where, different planets, these kind of facilities are there. In lower planets, all these kind of facilities are there. In the best of modern amenities are available, which is why, this Maya Danava, who is the engineer of he's the architect, right? He designs, builds stuff. Yeah, so all modern scientists are his followers, right? If they're atheistic, just trying to mm, discover some few modern things that are already there in much grander, much modern amenities are available. Manifesting a full effulgence and a fearsome countenance, Lord Narasimha, being very angry and finding no contestant to face his power and opulence, then sat down in the assembly hall on the excellent throne of the king. Because of fear and obedience, no one could come forward to serve the Lord directly. So, over, close. Chapter is closed. When the Lord sat on the throne of Hiranyakashipu, there was no one to protest. No enemy came forward on behalf of Hiranyakashipu. This means that his supremacy was immediately accepted by the demons. Another point is that although Hiranyakashipu treated the Lord as his bitterest enemy, he was the Lord's faithful servant in Vaikuntha, and therefore the Lord had no hesitation in sitting on the throne. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks in this connection that sometimes with great care and attention, great saintly persons and rishis offered the Lord valuable seats dedicated with Vedic mantras and tantras. Still, the Lord does not sit upon those thrones. Hiranyakashipu, however, had formerly been Jaya, the doorkeeper at the Vaikuntha gate. And although he had fallen because of the curse of the Brahmanas and had gotten the nature of a demon, and although he had never offered anything to the Lord, Lord is so affectionate to his devotee and servant that nonetheless took pleasure in sitting on the throne that Hiranyakashipu had created. In this regard, it is to be understood that a devotee is fortunate in any condition of life. A devotee is fortunate. One who is a devotee of Krishna is fortunate. Hiranyakashipu had been exactly like a fever of meningitis in the head of the three worlds. When the wives of the demigods in the heavenly planets saw that the great demon had been killed by the personal hands of the Supreme Lord, their faces blossomed in great joy. The wives of the demigods again and again showered flowers from heaven upon Lord Narasimha like rain. At the time, the airplanes of the demigods who desired to see the activities of the Supreme Lord Narayana crowded the sky. The demigods began beating drums and kettle drums, and upon hearing them, the angelic women began to dance, Apsaras, while the chiefs of the Gandharvas sang sweetly. My dear Yudhishthira, the demigods then approached the Lord. They were headed by Lord Brahma, King Indra, and Lord Shiva, and included great saintly persons in the residence of Pitriloka, Siddhaloka, Vidyadharaloka, planet of the snake. The Manus approached, and so did the chiefs of various other planets. Apsaras approached Gandharvas, Charanas, Yakshas, inhabitants of Kinnara Loka, Betalas, inhabitants of Kimpusha Loka, personal servants of Vishnu like Sunanda and Kumuda. All of them came near the Lord, who glowed with intense light. They individually offered their obeisances and prayers, the hands folded at their heads. Even their personal servants could not go near the Lord. Even Lakshmi Devi could not go. They were all standing at a distance, offered obeisances and prayers. So now the prayers will start, which will continue tomorrow. Okay, stop here. Any questions, comments? Yeah, Vamshika.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Pranam Prabhu.
Pranam.
Prabhu, one question. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in the Kali Yuga, and generally people should be so pious and so pure to see the Lord. So looks like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave darshan to every human during that time when he did the parikrama of complete India, no Prabhu.
Yeah.
So my question is more towards, so can we say that all the people who saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are back to Goloka?
No, not at all.
No?
It's the
No,
same thing. Even when Krishna appeared, so many saw. And so many people saw Krishna and thought he is the prince of Dwarka, Mathura. They didn't think of him as Supreme Lord. But, okay, so there's a little bit nuance here. So, for example, let's first talk about Krishna. So, when Krishna appeared, like people like Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra, at least he little bit knew Duryodhana was atheist, so he died also. And then Prabhupada says that even in the battle of Kurukshetra, those who saw Krishna's form and got even slightly attracted by his personal form, they got liberated and even, went beyond Brahman effulgence, Brahman Jyoti. Because others anyway who died in the presence of the Lord, they got uh, liberated. But those who, I mean, like people like Duryodhana, right, had a miserable death, right? And, even in the time of during Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there are so many who are Mayavadis who didn't want to come near Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, those who accepted his form as Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they would be delivered. Of course, in the case of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, those who accepted him got love of Krishna. Right, so not some ordinary liberation, right? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Mahavadanya, so he's so much merciful. And that simply they had to be attracted, and which is why the Lord manifests a form, qualities, pastimes, etc., which can attract everybody. Actually, it is said, Shastra says that even conditioned souls could see Krishna when he came in Dwapar Yuga. Conditioned souls, which means that there are no qualification, but they saw Krishna. And the fortunate ones got attracted by him. Others, atheists, and they are materialists, gross materialists, who just thought that okay, maybe he's just some, very exalted human being. So it's not that just whoever sees the Lord didn't get liberated, but who got attracted by the Lord, yes. Or in case of Krishna, who died in the presence of the Lord, yes, but not others.
Got it, Prabhu. Understood. Thanks, Prabhu.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay, then we'll close here. Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपातुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनन्तकोटि